Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. You're watching Rebel Roundup, our daily news and opinion show. It's Tuesday, and I am your host, Sheila Gunn Reid. But on Tuesdays, I'm joined by my very special co-host, my real-life best friend from Regina, Saskatchewan, Lise Merle. Lise, how are you doing?
Well, hello, my beloved Sheila Gunn Reid. It's another great day to be from Saskatchewan,
Yep.
and another really interesting day in the world of Canadian news.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day, it just never stops.
My political muse, Gary Anandasangri, our public safety minister, is back saying stupid things, and I just want to react to it. Elizabeth May, her lucidity is coming and going
What?
lately, and usually she's not very lucid, but she's been lucid lately. Like she said some things a couple of weeks ago that made
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
we were.
sense.
Yep, that we were on board with. Yeah.
I think she did it again. I'm worried because with many Alzheimer's patients, they sort of get that lucidity towards the end of their life. And I'm worried about her now. Like the more I think about her, I'm like, is the end nigh for this woman? I would hate to see it.
Is Elizabeth May slipping into the Alzheimer's,
Yeah,
slipping in and out of the
or,
Alzheimer's
or slipping into that like
or the
moment
dementia?
towards the end where you start making sense again and you
Oh,
think you have your loved one back, but they're
where you see the light. Where you
mm,
see the light. Okay. Well,
mhm. I'm worried about her.
we best keep an eye on Elizabeth May then.
I-
Yeah.
I'm I'm worried about the woman now.
Boomer watch.
Yeah,
Boomer
political
watch.
disagreements aside,
Boomer
I'm
watch on
worried about
Elizabeth
her.
May,
Yep.
Canada. Okay.
But I'll tell everybody what we're doing around here and how they can get involved in the show, and then we'll get into the show because it is just well, the pierogi is tightly packed today,
It's
so
always
it's
a wild day.
full of filling.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. But first, if you're watching us on Rumble, great free speech platform over there. If you want to get involved in the show, support our work and have your say, you can leave a Rumble rant if it's over the $5 US cutoff. We are hereby reading it on air if it's under that. As you know, we do our very best to get to it, time permitting. We've been going a little bit overtime lately, so that'll probably be the case today. Um, once again, once again, Lisa's getting a phone call and or delivery while we're on air. If you're watching us on YouTube, how you can get involved in the show over there is by way of a super chat. That's their paid chat over there. Same rules apply. And if you are unable to catch the live version of the show, so you're watching the recorded stream, you can leave a paid comment called a super thanks. I think that's it. As I mentioned, Gary and Anandasangri are complete imbecile. And I say that kindly because I could say a lot worse about him. Gary Anandasangri,
Yeah.
who should not even hold the position that he does as public safety minister, given his tangential relationships with Sri Lankan terrorists, the Tamil Tigers. So
Some
much
would argue,
so,
some would argue he shouldn't be the public safety minister because he wasn't born here. But yeah,
well,
also the terrorist ties. Yes.
there's also the terrorist thing where the Sri
Mhm.
Lankan foreign ministry was like, don't even sign those nomination papers, Justin Trudeau. But Justin Trudeau saw dollar signs in his eyes and the ability to sweep the Tamil community into the liberal fold. He has no idea about the classifications of firearms licensing in
None at
this
all.
country.
No.
He has no idea how guns are being arbitrarily reclassified. And I just gave away the gave away the reasoning there. It's arbitrary. Nobody knows, but especially Gary doesn't know.
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't know that we have red flags with regard to our licensing system. He doesn't know any of these things, but
You know
he's our
why?
chief gun grabber.
Why would you? He's a liberal, and we all know that liberal ministers don't have to know the first thing about anything
Right.
that they're responsible for. So what has he done now, Sheila Gunn Reid? What has he done now?
Well, he says that despite almost negligible uptake outside of widows and divorcees on the gun grab, And the costs spiraling out of control, costing thousands and thousands of dollars to grab a single gun, yet pennies on the dollar being given to the firearms owner in remuneration. Full steam ahead, guys. This is a success. We're not backing down.
Right. And just for the record, gun crimes in Canada have not typically dropped when these programs are unrolled, correct?
Right. Actually, during the Harper government, post the elimination of the long gun registry, guess what happened to firearms crimes?
Tell me.
Down. Dropped way down. Justin Trudeau takes power. We revisit our bail laws. We also then add an influx of foreign criminals just sashaying across the border with their fancy luggage in hand. And the poor RCMP are like, I guess I'll help you with that. Guess what happened to our crime rates? Through the roof. And then their solution is, you know what we should do is go after the people who are already doing everything they possibly can to follow the laws. Let's not gaze upon the foreign criminals running amok in the country. Let's go after the people who are already following the law. Those are the real bad guys.
Yeah.
So anyways, despite the failings, and I think the CTF is going to court to get the full cost for this, because we only
They're
get
like,
the
how much is
trickle
this?
outs.
Yeah, how much is this actually gonna
and
hurt the taxpayers of Canada?
Public safety is fighting them because we know like the long gun registry cost 10 times what they said it would cost. I think it was just a make work project for the entire town of Miramichi, which is where the firearms office was. But he says, yeah, despite all the flaws, we know who the real bad guys are, and it's you, Sheila.
Thank you. Canada is, again, a rule of law country, one where the courts have the final say. But what I can say is that over the last several months, we have been working towards the implementation of this program, and we're rolling it out in a way that is to be accessible to Canadians. The Supreme Court matter, where the Supreme Court gave leave for this matter to be heard, is at a very early stage of the Supreme Court process, which will take anywhere from 18 to 24 months to conclude. This is routine in Canadian, as Canadian laws are implemented. It is routine, as you're aware. We have challenges through the courts in virtually every instance a new legislation or a new regulation is introduced. So we look forward to defending vigorously our position at the Supreme Court level. Two lower courts, so the federal court as well as the Federal Court of Appeal, they were absolutely clear in their declarations, and we're very confident that we'll be able to defend our position at the highest court.
What if it rules the other way?
What I can say is that the way that our system works is, unless there is a ruling, what stands is the decision of the highest court. In this case, is the Federal Court of Appeal.
Awesome. Okay. Who appointed that entire Federal Court of Appeal, do you think?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like Gary sounds really, really confident that the court is going to come down on his side. And that's real convenient considering that Gary's party is the people that are responsible for appointing all of the justices. Responsible. Well, awesome.
Oh my God. So Gary Anandasangri says something real interesting at the beginning there. Canada is a rule of law country. Okay, that's true. But this gun grab did not go before Parliament. It started as an order in council. So just the stroke of a pen. Here's 1,500 makes and models of popular Canadian firearms. Oh, and then every day adding to it, bureaucrats just willy-nilly adding to it. That doesn't seem like this has gone through the proper legislative steps. And the Supreme Court of Canada may, at least to a certain extent, agree with the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, the ones who are bringing this challenge. They argued that this is in the national interest.
Right.
And so the court should hear it, and the court agreed. When you are criminalizing potentially 2.2 million Canadian firearms owners, there should be some checks and balances other than just an order in council and then just arbitrarily
yes.
doubling it in size.
But that it had to accelerate up to the Supreme Court level to get this dealt with. Like, it wasn't enough that they made this arbitrary decision and put legal gun owners in a position where they may be acting unlawfully, but that it accelerated to this point, that they've dumped this much money into it. Like, I think it shows the government's motivation to disarm the Canadian public at any cost. Like, they will just not give up.
They won't give up. And he says some things that are untrue there. He said the lower court rulings still stand. Now, that is true, but also the amnesty stands. So until
And he
this
didn't
is
mention that,
done,
yeah.
no, he didn't really mention that.
Interesting.
And, you know, the idea that this is a pressing public safety issue, I think that ship has sailed. Not only has it sailed, it's way out in the middle of the ocean, because we're almost, you know, a month away from this being a 6-year-long process. You cannot argue that these firearms remaining in the hands of the people who already have them is a pressing and deadly public safety issue if we've had them for 6 years and we haven't done any crimes with them.
Right. Well, the Liberal government will stop at nothing to chase a bad idea. And we
Yes.
know this. We know this. They had the opportunity to let sleeping dogs lie. Was it just last week? Before they appealed the invocation of the Emergencies Act, as 4 judges have found them guilty of breaching Canadian charter rights, and yet they could have just let it go. They could have just let it go and learned their lesson, and instead they accelerate these cases up to the Supreme Court of Canada, because of course it's not their money they're spending, and
Right.
there's no skin in the game for them if they lose. Like, they lose nothing if they lose.
Being
The Canadian
a liberal,
public loses, but they
Yeah.
certainly don't.
being a liberal means never having to admit that you're wrong.
Or take
And
accountability or responsibility or have any consequences.
like, Gary notes the timeline there. And again, that reinforces my point. We're almost 6 years out of the original order in council. He says this court case can take up to 24 months. So that puts us 8
At 8
years
years.
out.
Yes.
At some point, somebody should be arguing 8 years out, we haven't seen this particular well-vetted group of people with these specific firearms causing the disaster that we are accusing them of.
Sure.
Let's backtrack. And if Gary were smart, if Mark Carney were smart, instead of conniving, they would say, okay, well, this is going to the highest law in the land. It's going to take another 2 years. You know what we should do is pivot to actual public safety. But this gives them an off-ramp, but they just won't take it.
No.
It's crazy.
Well, and 8 years is a long time when Canadians are identifying bills and laws that are, that they are absolutely opposed to from the get-go. To know that you're in this battle for 8 years to try and unwind the damage of the government, of the stupid arbitrary government decisions that were made on your behalf that nobody asked for, nobody voted for. Something is wrong with this. Something is wrong with this entire system. If it takes 8 years to unwind laws that Canadians don't want, didn't ask for, and want to get rid of, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of resources that are being spent on ensuring the government can keep trampling over the rights of the actual people here.
Right.
8 years.
And they've lost the front line that would be executing this. So it's police forces all across the country, provinces also. But even in the provinces where the provinces haven't come out and said, we will not participate in this. You know, my province has said that, your province has said that. But even within provinces where that statement hasn't been made by the premiers, the police forces themselves are saying, look,
they're opting
we're
out.
not doing it. We're not doing this. Find somebody else. We have real bad guys, transnational repression and whatnot to deal with. We're not going around bothering people who have their firearms in their safe, their ammo stored somewhere else behind a locked door. Like, we're not bothering those
citizens.
people.
We're not harassing those citizens.
Yeah.
No, they didn't do anything wrong. We got bigger fish to fry, and good on those police,
Yeah.
good on those police forces that have actively come out. Anyway, best of luck to our Tracy Wilson
Yes.
in
Yes.
her fight against the terrible, awful government of Canada.
Yes, and she's really she and the CCFR and everybody who's a member of the CCFR. This is what your membership dues go to. This is what your merch purchases go to.
Oh, and
she's
she's
fighting
like-
in court. She's
Sh-
also putting pressure on police services. She's doing everything.
She's amazing. On the last broadcast, I was like, I wonder what Regina and Saskatoon are doing on this, and she's like, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out
Yeah,
right now. Like
like
Tracy
that.
Wilson doesn't let no moss grow on her Rolling Stone. She's on it. So
Yeah.
if anybody's gonna get this struck down, okay, if anybody's gonna get this eliminated, it is Tracy Wilson, and I look
Yeah.
forward to watching it. So
Yes, and
hey,
not to
did you-
forget Rod Giltaka,
yes,
your
sorry.
counterpart over there. They're
Yes,
giving her.
thank you. Yes. I just wanted to say, did you notice Natalie Provo absolutely drilling lasers into the side of Gary Anantasangri's head there?
Mhm.
Like she's breathing down his neck. That is the definition of breathing down somebody's neck. Do we have any more on that presser?
Do you know what, Olivia? Would you mind finding the clip of Natalie Provo having some sort of meltdown at that very same press conference?
Did she?
Yeah, I think it might be on the CCFR's social media pages. And
Okay.
Natalie Provo, for those of you who don't know, I'll give you the background while we
Please.
wait on Olivia to round this up.
Please.
Natalie Provo was a victim of gun crime. So she was in École Polytechnique when a half Algerian, I believe he was, man came in and committed an honor killing. He asked all the men in the room to leave, and they did. Very chivalrous, very chivalrous. They did, leaving the women behind, and then he started shooting, and she was there. So I just want to give that history, but that's got nothing to do with me and my
No,
fellow
ma'am.
law-abiding Canadian gun owners. It has nothing to do with us. How do you protect women by disarming them? Like, let's start there. If your concern is violent crime against women, well, I got the great equalizer in the gun safe, don't I? But this has become now her life's work, is to disarm the Canadian public. And the Liberals recruited her, and that's how I knew that Mark Carney was not going to back off of Justin Trudeau's gun grab, is when he recruited her to run for the Liberals. Even after she had been critical of the Liberals in the past for not grabbing guns fast enough, when he
Interesting.
recruited her, I knew, okay, they're going to put their foot to the floor on this. And anyway, she is the woman who is standing there with the severe haircut.
Oh, and the laser eyes. Oh, she has laser. Oh, okay.
This is her.
Yeah.
This is Natalie Provo, formerly of the gun grabbers at Police Souviant. That was the organization. And now she's a Liberal MP, and she's going to tell us why we shouldn't have guns, even though we didn't do anything.
Okay, Natalie.
No one supports the assault-style firearm compensation program. We are,
That's right, we
and I
don't.
quote, confiscating hunting rifles and pop can guns that are
Yes,
used
you
on
are.
farm. I don't feel I am a duck or a gopher or a pop can. So please help us stop that disinformation. They are honest assault-style. They bought their firearms honestly, with goodwill. But if they are not registered by March the 21st, they won't be able to recuperate that money.
These are people who own these guns. How's your government connecting with them?
We're writing to them directly, but the gun lobby, the website, the system of gun hunters are going over that. Please help us tell to Canadians that we're not grabbing guns that are made for duck guns or gopher guns.
You are doing that, Natalie. But that's what you are actually doing. That's what you are doing.
There's a 410 on the Ordering Council. A 410. I would to call that a bird gun, I think, is an exaggeration. It's like something you would get for a 7-year-old. It's like your very first little tiny shotgun. Like,
Okay.
that is on the Ordering Council because it looks cool. She has no idea what they're grabbing because she thinks Everything is an
Every
assault style weapon.
every single firearm in the country is a threat to her personally. That is what
Yes.
I just heard. That's what you just heard too?
Yes.
I am not a pop can. I am not a do. That's what she said.
Thanks. I'm not
Yeah.
a gopher. I'm
Yeah.
not a duck.
Yeah.
I'm not a pop can.
She
We know.
sounds
That's
I
why
mean,
we're not shooting you.
those
Like,
people
you
that
know?
gets that get right. That's why you're standing there, madame.
Mm.
That is why you are able to stand there. Yes, because everybody understands that. But she seems like the type of person that is just so ingrained in this that she has lost all ability to be impartial
Right.
about this, unable to see the other side. Because as far as she's concerned, as long as there is any person walking around the nation with a firearm, well, then they are a threat to her personal safety.
Right.
I think she requires trauma counseling, like maybe less time in front of a podium and more time in trauma counseling,
Right.
Natalie.
Right. I mean, and if she has armed security, and there is armed security, of course, in the House of Commons, there's the PP, Parliamentary Protective Service, I think it is called.
Okay.
So they have their own little police force. They're armed. By the way, an armed member of that, Kevin Vickers, put down a terrorist
Yeah,
attack
he did.
at the House of Commons. So
Was
guns
it
guns are for protecting people.
right? Yeah, they have them for a reason. It's almost like
Right.
they're the most effective.
Right.
But that's only for Natalie and her friends in
Right,
Ottawa,
not for me. Not for me. Not
not
for
for us.
rural living woman here. No,
Yeah.
not for us.
Mhm.
It is nice to see how the gun lobby, the CCFR and our friends at the NFA are driving her bonkers. Like she is really not
Clearly.
doing well with them telling the truth about what's really happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope, she's not. Well, she's probably not accustomed to having many people talk back to her. Many of these people in Ottawa are not used to having regular people talk back to them.
Right. And she says that, that journalist asked, well, how are you connecting with the gun owners? We're
Writing them?
Yeah, you are sending me emails. I'm ignoring them. We're all ignoring them. The problem is not that we are not getting the communications from you.
Right.
We don't care.
We're opting to just file them in the junk mail. Yeah.
I think I've gotten 3. I don't care, Natalie.
Nope.
I don't care. It's
Label
not that I'm not
spam.
getting enough emails from you.
Label
don't
them
care.
spam. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, all the best to our Tracy
Yeah.
Wilson.
Let's move ahead. As I said, Elizabeth May had a moment of lucidity again.
Ooh.
Which makes me very concerned because is she near the end of her days? I don't know. But she voted against Bill C-9. So Bill C-9 is the new hate legislation, the one where they want to rewrite portions of the Bible, or at least make our pastors and priests could criminalize speech from the pulpit. Like the theology of the body. They would consider hate speech because it, denies what the Liberal Party of Canada has decided is a protected class of people, i.e. transgender kids. But Liz May, who I think she's an Anglican pastor, which is
That says
all
a lot.
you need to know. Says all you need to know. Anyways, she voted against it, which I'm shocked, surprised, amazed.
Amazing.
But Bill C-9 not only doesn't solve problems of hate crimes, it not only doesn't give law enforcement new tools, it will create a morass. I'm absolutely certain that if this law is passed as is, it will waste police resources, waste court time, and tie people up in knots in wrongful prosecutions for things that were never hate crimes at all. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I vote against this bill.
Ooh, and then smacked her podium. Look at her go, just getting feisty in the House. Elizabeth May of Saanich Gulf Islands, I guarantee you, is going to hear about this from her constituents. So she is the MLA for one of the wokest ridings in the entire
MP, yeah.
nation of, excuse me, MP in one of the wokest ridings in the nation. And I guarantee Elizabeth May is going to hear from her very left-wing British Columbian people on this, truly. Yep. But she did the right thing. She did the right thing.
And nothing she said there was untrue.
It's gonna clog up our judiciary. It's gonna clog
Yeah.
up all of our services. It's gonna clog up police resources on things that weren't hate to begin with. That's the
Right.
point. That's the entire point, is that if it is part of a sacred holy text, it can't be hateful. It can't be hateful.
Right. Like, especially if it's a sincerely held religious belief with no action attached to it. Like, you know, you're not saying kill the infidels. You're saying pray for these deeply troubled people, that so that they don't mangle their own bodies and end up as a future suicide.
Lead them back to the truth, and then
Mhm.
maybe the homelessness issues that plague the LGBTQIA people would fix themselves. Maybe the mental health related spirals that LGBTQIA people routinely experience would rectify themselves. Maybe we would have less threats of unaliving themselves and people actually unaliving themselves if we just wholesale stopped lying to them all the time about such a critical thing. Maybe that's the solution, just coming back to the truth. And yet
Mhm.
our government is proposing that our faith leaders, who people look to in times of well, when they're questioning, right?
Right.
You look to your
For
faith leaders
answers.
to right, to lead you back to the truth. And they're making it illegal in Canada. It is frightening. It's a frightening time.
Yep. Anyways, if Liz May isn't well, we should all say a prayer for her
I think
because,
she is well. I think this is Elizabeth May actually at her best.
well,
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so. This from Pierre Polyev. This is
Mhm.
quite something.
Mhm.
In Toronto, the local CBC News. Oh, it's a fan account. Pierre Polyev for Prime Minister. Sorry. This is a fan account of Pierre Polyev. But this is, Ezra covered this on his show last week to a certain
Mm.
extent. I know Chris Sims has done some work on this, Chris Sims over at the CTF. But from LifeSite News, in Toronto, the local CBC News is watched by 49,000 people, 0.74% of the population of the city. Calgary had 4,000 viewers, 0.25%. The West is coming in clutch. Vancouver had 0.4% watch the news. CBC is a $1.4 billion propaganda machine that must be defunded. Nobody's watching, pull the plug. Euthanize this.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. What we couldn't do with that kind of money every year, rotating year after year.
That's 3 hospitals every 2 years we could
Yeah.
build.
Well,
And
and I do think that I do think that we have to start asking our elected officials, why are you giving the CBC the time of day? Like, why
no
would you
one's
give the
watching
people
anyway.
when nobody watches them? Why would you even let them within your orbit? This is
Right.
particularly pertinent for the Conservative Party of Canada, who seems to have an abusive relationship with the CBC, where they where they tolerate abuse by the CBC, yet still seek their favor. Stop working with them. The CBC would have a real hard time. Would be real hard pressed to continue on this uh, downward spiral that we've seen like since Justin Trudeau. For the last 10 years, we've watched the CBC just like in a death toilet spiral. But they'd have a lot harder job if we just stopped working with them. Like, just stop giving them the time of day. Nobody's watching them. Who cares?
I could sit here with Triggy and just watch the House of Commons and live stream myself just sitting here, not saying a word, watching the
don't-
House of Commons.
Why don't
And
you do
I
that?
would get 4,000 views.
Why don't you do that? Sheila Gunn Reid. Like, why?
I
No
got other things
talking,
to
just
do.
observing.
Just sitting here. I'm watching it anyway. If they just put like a nanny cam on me and watched me watch the House of Commons, I could get 4,000 views.
I say that we do this, just silent watching, but with Sheila.
Just
Watch
me and the cat.
Watch Sheila watch the news. Yeah, I'd watch that 100%. That'd be amazing.
Should we, Olivia, hit an ad break and then sort of switch into the Mark Carney versus the West stuff? Okay, let's hit an ad break. We've got an ad read when we're done, and then we'll go into the rest.
Budget 2026 is focused on what matters. including record investments in education. Budget 2026 is focused on giving students the best opportunities to succeed. That's why we're following through on our commitment to hire 3,000 more teachers and 1,500 more EAs. It also focuses on fast-tracking the construction and renovation of 161 schools across the province. Budget 2026, focused on what matters.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted,
while criminals run wild under Liberal policy.
But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.
All right, we've got a quick message from our friends at Rumble Wallet. We have to pay the bills around here. We don't take any money from the government. They can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control and they use it. That's why financial independence matters now more than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your future, yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics, it's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today, download Rumble Wallet now, and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom. That's Rumble Wallet. Okay, we're way behind because we talked a lot about the gun grab, but it's just a huge government failure.
Yeah.
But speaking of government failures, the Smith-Carney pipeline deal to miss early deadlines.
The big, remember you guys, the big MOU, we got our fancy portfolios and our commemorative pens and we signed an agreement, Alberta and Ottawa. What happened, Sheila Gunn Reid?
Nothing. That's what happened. Zero, as predicted. Ezra and I were at the press conference and I was like, I read the MOU. I'm looking at him and he's like, I read the MOU. I'm like, this means nothing. What are we excited about?
It's a piece of paper. It's literally just a piece of paper. Yeah?
I felt like I was losing my mind because I was like, did somebody get a different piece of paper than I did? Did they get a different email from the Premier's office than I did? Why are they so excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt completely like I was gaslit. Anyways, the first set of deadlines included in the energy and climate deal struck between Prime Minister Mark Carney and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith are not expected to be met, showing early challenges, with the agreement that includes pursuing a new export pipeline from Alberta to the West Coast. The MOU includes specific deadlines to be reached by April 1. But Smith described delays in negotiations when CBC asked her about the issue on Monday in Houston, Texas, where the Premier is attending the Sierra Week by S&P Global and International Energy Conference. She said, we don't want to delay very long. We know that we need to have market certainty, but that's the time frame that we're working towards. So the first set of deadlines in the deal include a cooperative agreement on impact assessments, a methane equivalency agreement, a carbon pricing equivalency agreement, and a trilateral MOU with the Pathways companies. So,
good. And the Pathways companies are?
Yeah, okay. So it's the Oil Sands Alliance. It's a consortium of the big companies that have pledged to reach net zero emissions. And the Pathways project would capture emissions from 20 oil sands facilities in northern Alberta and move them to by a pipeline. I guess we can build that pipeline, just not ones that move oil.
Yep.
To a I'm having a stroke. I sound like Olivia Chow. A
terminal?
terminal near Cold Lake, a terminer, where they would be stored underground. The facility would be built in phases between 2027 and 2040. But the companies have not made a final investment decision. So the Pathways Group, these groups that will get money to store an odorless, inert molecule under the ground for some reason,
Yeah.
they have not come to the table.
Oh, well then. Can
I'm
you
actually
blame 'em?
glad. I'm
Can
actually
you-
glad. I don't want to give them any money.
No, here's the crazy thing. In Saskatchewan, we invested really heavily in this last, well, I'd say about a decade ago into carbon capture. Actually, more than that, probably around
Yeah.
15 years ago. Invested really heavily into carbon capture, where they sort of repurposed some of our old coal mines or some of the infrastructure that was around some of the old coal mines. So
I love
basically what
your
we
version of carbon capture. It's so much better than ours.
basically what happened was millions and millions and millions and millions of tax dollars were spent on piping this colorless, odorless, harmless molecule into a sort of a decommissioned area of a Saskatchewan coal mine. And now we get to brag about how much carbon we're storing underground.
Right.
Basically, this is just shoveling things into decommissioned coal mines. We're like, we're doing something for the earth. And I'm like, are you? Are you though? Like, what
Are
are
we?
actually?
I don't think we are. This odorless inert gas that plants need, we're somehow
that doesn't harm
stealing it from the
anybody.
plants
That
and
doesn't harm
putting it in the
anybody
ground.
or
Yeah.
anything. And
Yeah.
we are investing in storing it underground. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I live down the road from a carbon capture site. And because all the refineries are here because there are salt caverns deep within the ground. They need the brackish water.
Yes.
And so then they started storing the CO2 in the salt caverns. And I'm like, why can't you just like it's just nothing but farmland.
Free the carbon.
We'll take it.
Why are you holding the carbon hostage?
Right.
Why are you being mean to the carbon?
And
The
they do
carbon
that and they're
deserves to
like, see? Environmentalists.
Don't throw your shoulder out, patting yourself on the back, guys. But no, as far as I could tell, it's just part of the green grift, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just another area of the green grift that sadly governments have latched onto and then taxpayers are on the hook for. It's
Yeah.
awful. It's just awful. But yeah, I love that it's already delayed because of like the hurdles that we've been screaming from the rooftops for 10 years about. The hurdles are still there. Imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow.
And I'm actually glad that everything is falling apart. It helps the separatist movement. And we don't have to
It's true.
have our carbon tax just go through that industrial carbon tax, just go through the roof. So I'm happy. You know what? Delay it more. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No.
What's the difference? We're not going to get a pipeline. We don't have one.
Right.
So
right.
I
But
would
this,
rather
like-
not have one and not have an increased carbon tax than not have one and have an increased carbon tax.
No, but it also just shows how the political classes can manufacture a big shiny announcement, like, oh, big shiny, nothing's going to be better than this for Alberta. Watch us go. Unless I see excavators in the ground at one of those announcements, I'm not going to believe what they say anymore. Okay, I'm just not.
I want the pipe fitters laying under the pipe welding.
I want the welding trucks there. Unless there are welding trucks, I disbelieve what the political classes tell us.
No, I need to see them in the background. Otherwise, I don't believe anything. I believe nothing.
No, unless there's a safety supervisor. Okay, right there, watching the work happen. I'm not believing. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
all the people in and around the premier who were sort of smug about their MOU and kind of uppity about people like me who actually read the MOU and have been around the block a little bit, who read it and were like, okay, so we get an increased carbon tax for potentially no pipeline. Nothing's ever going to get built here because the increased industrial carbon tax is the reason they don't build anything here.
That's
one of
why,
them.
that's what's been chasing them away this
You're
whole
right.
time.
That's the scarecrow in the
Sorry.
field, you guys.
Sorry to break it to you guys, but that's the reason why nobody's building anything in
Right.
the
And they were
West.
like, what, basically, why are you guys a bunch of wet blankets? Why can't you be hopeful? And it's like,
Can't you
because
see we have a fancy MOU to
Right.
celebrate?
Right. And I'm like, well, you just renamed everything that's already been a problem and called it an MOU.
That's what they did. They bundled it up.
Yeah.
They bundled it. They bundled
Yeah.
all of the hurdles into
Yeah.
a new sounding package and said,
Right.
please won't somebody
But it's an
congratulate
MOU.
us.
But
Was
it's
it,
an MOU. Oh,
did
that's
you-
carbon tax. No, it's an MOU.
what did Jeffrey Rath, God bless him, he every once in a while he comes up, what did he call it? He called a memorandum of, what was the U?
I don't remember.
Oh, I gotta think about it.
I'm
If
always
anybody-
scared when Jeff's on the show anyway.
Yeah, it was a
I
really
lived
great
the
point
whole
he made that one time. It was
Yeah.
if anybody remembers what Jeff says, it was like the memorandum of like unenthusiastic. No, that wasn't it. Anyway, let me know in the chat if you
Yeah,
remember
you
that
guys
moment
will
with
know.
Jeff Rath. Yeah.
Okay, so this tweet from Ezra, but
Yeah.
it's from Tim Hodgson. He's replying to Tim Hodgson, who is, of course, our Minister of Energy.
Sure
I love
is.
how they appointed a Minister of Energy from Thornhill, Markham. I would have been happy if it was Buckley Boulanger, just because he's from the West. You know what I mean? Even though I think he is not fit for the job, none of them are.
Right.
So what would be the difference? I mean, Gary Anandasangari can be the public safety minister. Hell, Buckley Boulanger can be the environment minister, because at
Right.
least he's from the West, where the issue is.
Right.
But no, we got this interloper, Tim Hodgson from the East, colonizing our issues again.
They do that with ag. They do that with the ag minister all the time.
Yeah. At least you had Ralph Goodale for a bit.
Sheila, please. Take it back. Take it
I
back
know.
right now. I will not have anything nice said about Ralph Goodale on this
I
program.
won't either. He locked up Rick Strankman. So I don't want any. No.
He's my neighbor again, by the way, Sheila Gunn Reid. He's my neighbor
no.
again. Yes.
Okay, so Ezra's responding to this tweet from Tim Hodgson, who is bragging about unlocking Canada's offshore potential with an estimated 47 to 148 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and 19 to 49 billion barrels of oil. Nova Scotia's offshore conventional potential is significant and largely undeveloped. But they're going to get to do that. And as Ezra points out, Nova Scotia votes Liberal, so Nova Scotia gets oil. Alberta and Saskatchewan vote Conservative, so we don't get pipelines or tankers, and we have to pay bizarre carbon capture taxes.
1 billion% accurate. I'd also like to know from Tim Hodgson what kind of environmental assessments are going to have to, because listen, building things in oceans is a lot more complicated than building things on flat prairie land. So I'd like to know about all of the environmental assessments they're going to have to do. I want to know about the First Nations consultation that they're going to have to get around. I want to know about the consultation with the fisheries. The fisheries that operate in those same waters. I want to know about all of it. I bet you that it's going to be a lot easier for them to get regulatory approval in Nova Scotia than it is for us in the West.
I don't know if you saw last week, the Alberta government passed or proposed, they're tabling it. It's a 120-day assessment. That's what we're
4
doing.
months.
We're not doing this like forever and a day, interviewing the local feminist basket weaver for how the pipeline makes her ovaries feel. And if she could come and just smudge out her feelings. We're not doing that anymore around here. We're doing a technical review. Does this create jobs? Is it technically safe? If yes, welcome to the jungle, start building. We're not doing this whole thing where we have to interview every local curmudgeon and busybody.
Scott Moe and the government of Saskatchewan announced quite some time ago already, a couple months, I think, announced that any project that was seeking approval in Saskatchewan should just assume that you have the go ahead from the province. There's gonna be no gatekeeping from the province of Saskatchewan when it comes to the project approval process, and then the delivery of the actual project. The government of Saskatchewan has said we're not getting in the way of this, but as always, the federal government still gets to have their say, which is where we collide in this
Right.
regard. Yeah.
Right. And the longer these reviews go on, the more momentum the antis pick up. Right? Time is on their side.
Sure.
And just cut
Wait
them
it
off at
out.
the knees. Yeah.
Wait out the investors, wait
Get
out the
it-
people that are interested, and away they go. Yeah.
Yeah. Like cut these people off at the knees before their grant checks come in from the San Francisco environmental
Agreed.
charities. Have it done, and before forest ethics gets their bucks from the Rockefellers. Okay. Canada's Auditor General found over 153,000 alleged student fraud visa cases, but only a few were investigated. I think it was like 2%, 4%. And then a lot of them, the investigations that were started, of those like 2 or 4%, were also abandoned. They were just like, you know what? It ain't worth it. So even the ones that they started investigating, which was such a minuscule number, half of those were just abandoned investigations. About 800 of those fraudsters that they were able to catch in the investigations, which were already minuscule, applied for other visas, with more than half of those visas being approved. So they were already fraudulently in the country. They were
And they're
found
like,
to be fraudulent.
Let's
give it a
find
whirl.
let's find a legal mechanism for you guys to stay.
Yeah, let's watch. This is the AG's report yesterday.
The federal government announced in January 2024 that it was capping study permit applications. That same year, the department issued fewer than 150,000 new permits. That is much less than the forecast number of almost 350,000. We found that less populated provinces were disproportionately affected by these changes. For example, Newfoundland and Labrador and Saskatchewan saw a drop of at least 59% in the number of permits approved with regard to 2023, and not the increase expected of 10%. The situation can be explained by the drop in the number of applications and the department's approach in determining how many permits would be processed in each province. In response to these known concerns about program integrity, the department set up a tool to validate letters of acceptance issued by the teaching establishments. However, the department did not investigate or adequately follow up on cases of students who were already in Canada who had been identified as likely not to comply the conditions of their study permits. Some 153,000 cases of this type were identified in 2023 and 2024, but because of funding, the department investigated only 4,000 cases approximately. The audit also revealed that the department had not followed up on 800 study permit applications that contained fraudulent documents or false information. This was discovered after the application was approved. In most of these cases, the applicants then asked for another type of immigration permit once they were in Canada, and more than half of these applications were approved. The department must use the information at its disposal to solve problems of integrity.
Okay. So the auditor general is like, okay, so there is at least 153,000 students in Canada that we've identified that probably shouldn't be here anymore.
Fraudulent.
And fraudulent, right? That should have never come because they were fraudulent applicants and should no longer be here. And then the government of Canada is like, but meh, what can you do? We don't have the people to investigate. This is what I would do if I was the Attorney General of Canada right now and we had a big problem on our hands as far as people being in the country that shouldn't be, I would give that list of 153,000 students. I'd divide them by province and territory. I would send that list to the Minister of Education. This is the person that's responsible for post-secondary in every single province. There is somebody responsible for post-secondary education. I would say, see all the names on this list? You talk to your schools that supposedly have these people attending, and you get back to me about their travel plans back. That's what the Auditor General could do. This is what the government could do to help us. And actually, Sheila, Gunn, Reid, yesterday in our private Facebook chat, I mentioned a situation about the University of Saskatchewan. She talked about Saskatchewan there, about a real interesting story that's developing, but that there are people at the University of Saskatchewan that would probably be highly alarming to the rest of us. We're going to look into that. Ken Cheveldayoff is the Minister of Advanced Education in Saskatchewan. And I'd like to know what the ministry is doing to make sure the people that shouldn't have been here to begin with and should no longer be here are doing about those students. Thank you very much. Putting a note in my binder. Ken Cheveldayoff, looking forward to hearing back from your office.
Yeah. Yes. Why don't they just give the lists, break them up by province, give them to the public safety ministers, give them to the public safety ministers. You send the sheriffs around. Alberta sheriffs, their duties have been expanded to monitor people out on bail, whatever. Okay, go
find these people.
Let's expand it one more time. Go get these people and deliver them to the local airport.
Well, and another part of this, so I just did a tiny bit of research on this. So there's approximately 2.3 million students enrolled in public colleges and universities across Canada. This is a 5.8 increase from about 2.2 million people the previous years. Our post-secondary institutions are absolutely stuffed with foreign students. Every single one of those foreign students is taking a spot away from our children, Canada. So not only are these people here fraudulently and shouldn't be here at all, but they are also robbing our own people and our own children of opportunity in the future. Like this is gross.
And that's a perfect segue into this clip from Michelle Rempel, Garner.
Oh, she's so good.
She was at her absolute Rempel-y best yesterday in committee. If you don't watch her at immigration committee, what are you even doing?
With your life? What are you even doing with your life? She gives me life, Sheila Gunn, Reid, watching her dig into this.
She doesn't even pretend that she's not irritated at the stupidity of the people she's talking to, which is how we are when we watch. Like I've watched and I'm like, can you just answer the question? You can be holding your head in your hand and then you look at the screen and Rempel's holding her head in her hand.
She's just like this, like having to deal with the libs all day and and they obfuscate around her and they use up her time and they give her the runaround. And it's so frustrating. But the one thing that I do appreciate about her so much is that you can see the fight in her. Like you can actually tell that she is fighting them. I am so tired of people that go to Ottawa and be like, I get along really great with those guys. I'm like, what? Excuse me? This is not why I elected you. But watch this, Jem. Like, just watch her.
So she's up against my favorite match in the House of Commons is always Rempel versus Lina Diab. So the minister responsible. Who is going to squint her way through all of these questions? If you've ever watched Lina Diab, this is all she does. And I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if she has dry eyes.
That's what I thought yesterday. I was like, somebody's going to get her some Systane or some Visine.
It's too early in the year for allergies. I don't know if it's just like a physical quirk that she has, but it's
I think it is, Sheila. Do you want to know what I think it is? I think it is her physically trying to find answers in her head, like line up the two peas that she's got rolling around in there.
It's like she's sort of pulling the handle on the slot machine and just waiting for something to come up.
Yes, that's what I think it is. Yeah, because it's so distinctive. So watch.
Yesterday, Michelle Rempel's up against Lina Diab, and she's going after Tim Hortons, and she should. So thank you, Rempel. Watch this.
Okay.
So, did you tell your colleague Patty to take a flying leap when she said that Tim Hortons should get more temporary foreign workers after the jobs numbers came out last week? Like, why aren't those jobs going to Canadian workers? And why are you guys kowtowing to Tim Hortons?
So lovely performance as usual, Madame. Thank you for the question. We have a letter from many Conservative members who have written to me and to Minister Haidu and to another minister of requesting those changes. In fact, pleading that they require those changes.
That's right.
In their province.
They were pleading to end the temporary foreign worker program and replace it with a standalone program for agriculture.
Absolutely not the case.
No, it is, and I know for a fact.
Absolutely not the case. You were not copied on those letters.
Oh, I was, and I saw them, and now you're misleading the committee. Would you like me to read that to you, or would you like to say that that was a performance too? Look, I get it. Your colleagues have to cover for you. They go to the CBC to say they can't talk to you. You don't talk to your colleagues and the ministers about serious issues like this. That's a problem. I'm going to ask you this. You were supposed to be here for 2 hours today. Why are you leaving at the 1 hour mark? Is it because you can't handle basic questions like this? Like, why aren't you fighting for Canadian kids' jobs?
That's exactly what we do day in, day out. I fight for them as the minister. The government is fighting for them. I say to you, it's best that you start fighting with them as well.
Thank you, Rempel Garner. The pride of Nose Hill.
That's right. We got Auntie Michelle.
Yeah.
Auntie Michelle hustling for the young people of Canada, holding the feet of the fire of Lena Diab. Why, I love what she said. What did she say? Did you go give him hell? No, what did she say?
Tell her to take a flying leap.
Oh yeah, did you tell your colleague over there in the Liberal caucus to take a flying leap when they lied? Oh, just the best. Just beautiful.
You know, and it's so funny because today is order paper question day in the House of Commons, and I'm just under a mountain of them, just trying to dig my way out and get to them before Blacklocks does, because Blacklocks only publishes once a day. So if
Sheila Gunn Reid gets in there in the morning, and she gets those. Yeah, she gets it out there before.
So I'm trying to hammer through them. I just got one that came into my email just now on this exact topic, but two that I got to this morning. One was that the government admitted they don't track temporary foreign workers in high unemployment regions. So they just bring them in, and they don't even care if they're going to work at the Tim Hortons where there's 16% local unemployment.
That is wild.
And again,
go
it
ahead.
gets better. Because a separate order paper question shows that the government cannot say how many temporary foreign workers are employed in major entry-level sectors like retail, food service, or hotels. So they replied that they don't track or collect data by subsector or subsector.
Okay, well, this is...
So you're just dumping people in and you don't even care where they're going?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And when you look at businesses that have been found to run afoul of temporary foreign worker rules. So whether they bring in people under false pretenses, they have them doing work that was never part of the arrangement, they're not paying them for the work, they're threatening them with deportation, or you know what I mean? Like there are, just in Saskatchewan, there was a case of, real recently, there was a case of human trafficking that was working through these temporary foreign worker loopholes. And if they're not paying attention, to where these people are going, if there's not an employment issue there,
right?
Well, then you're just sending people further and further out into the country where these abuses of this program will never be found out.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a situation where if you're not keeping track of these people, there are vulnerable people who have been brought to Canada, who have been told lies about their experience here, the kind of work that they're going to be doing here. And it basically makes slaves of those people if we're not paying attention to where they are. Yep. And so are we okay with this, Canada, creating an entire underclass of slaves under the guise of temporary foreign workers? No.
And it's, it's one thing to have a slave underclass. That's what Dubai kind of has.
Yeah.
But when it drives down the wages of The residents, you're not even getting anything out of having a slave underclass.
Right.
You're not
When
even
your
getting the
own
benefit
kids,
of it.
when your
Yeah.
own kids can't get into their, to their starter positions, into their first role, so they can get the job experience, so that they can move on into bigger and better things. When your kids are robbed of that opportunity, well, that harms our society.
Yep. This clip from, and I just got as we were talking, I just got another wild order paper question. I'll give you guys a sneak peek because you guys aren't going to write it up.
Breaking news.
Breaking. In over 90% of cases, immigration officials don't even bother to provide written submissions at refugee hearings.
Say that again.
In over 90% of cases, immigration bureaucrats do not provide written submissions at refugee hearings.
Oh. I mean, Tamara Leach has to go through a multi-week process just to leave her house. And yet they can't be bothered to write down anything.
Okay, so over 230,000 refugee hearings since 2018.
Okay.
In that same time, 230,000 refugee hearings since 2018. In that time frame, about 300 times, immigration officials actually even bothered to attend in person.
Oh my God.
In 213,000 cases, they didn't even bother to provide written evidence.
So they're just showing up. They're stating the case, and it's rubber stamped, and away these people go, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they don't even do anything. They don't even show up. 94% of cases go uncontested, sounds like.
Oh God. Yeah, so no vetting. There's no vetting of anybody coming into the country at all.
Nope. And that brings us to this next clip, and I think this will probably be the last one, and then we'll talk about Ken Shoveldayoff, the aforementioned Ken Shoveldayoff.
Yeah, he's today's show.
Yeah, so Quebec Immigration Minister Jean-Francois Roberge defends his decision to carry out a control of our immigration by saying, "We do not aim to become India." Let's watch this. And it's Quebec, of course, so they'll get away with saying this, but this is a perfectly reasonable take that every province should be able to take. But if Alberta said this, they're like, "You're racist." Racist. Okay, it isn't a clip, but he says, we do not aim to become India, we aim to become Switzerland. We are better at being 9 million rich Quebecers than 15 million poor Quebecers. Amen, brother.
I'm not arguing with any part of that.
I just want that for me.
I just want to see more premiers say things like this. Wouldn't that be a refreshing thing to hear?
I just want that for me. And then, sorry, I said that was the last video, but let's just quickly watch this one. Okay. This is from Juno News. The premiers of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Quebec have sent a sharp letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney demanding more say in judicial appointments. And Melanie Joly, like the absolute numbskull she is, just throws gasoline on a wildfire of Western separatism, because she basically says, okay, that's cute, Alberta, Saskatchewan, but we only care what Quebec has to say. And we're like, exactly. We know. That's why we want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Okay, let's watch.
Mr. Quebec's premier has issued a letter along with some other premiers asking for more control over people who are appointed as judge appointments. What do you make of that?
Well, we've always taken into consideration the different proposals by the Quebec government and by provinces, and I think we should be open to it. I think more we're able to showcase collaborative federalism in our country and make it work, more Canadians win across the country from it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So Quebec gets to choose these things.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Yeah. Well, mainly, Sheila, okay, so mainly because the Liberal Party of Canada / the Government of Canada is exponentially more likely to make a justice out of a donor A couple years ago, the National Post did a story like a retrospective story where they went back and they looked at every single person that was named a justice, and then they went and looked at all of their political donations. Well, guess where the majority of Canada's justices donated to? The Liberal Party of Canada.
Right.
So it's cute. Like I even think it's cute that Quebec thinks that they're going to get something special. You know what I mean? What I just heard Melanie
They
Joly
already
there.
get something special though, because all the justices have to be bilingual, which already unfairly advantages Quebec.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And
Sorry.
and that's also true for the provinces. The provinces, right? They're going to put a priority on justices that can speak both official languages, even in Alberta and Saskatchewan and Ontario, where it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, this is just more fuel for the flames of separation.
I cut you off, but you were going to say something about what you hear Melanie Joly saying there is.
Oh, I can't remember what I was going to say now. It's gone.
It was
Sorry, it
great.
escaped me.
I'm
It's
so
okay.
sorry.
It was the best thing I was going to say all day. It's gone. Poof, gone. It's okay.
Right.
It's all right. No, but I just don't have a lot of faith that strongly worded letters from the provinces mean anything to the federal government.
Yeah.
You know how they ignore all of the letters from the people? They just do that with the provincial governments too.
Let's talk about the aforementioned Ken Shoveldayoff. He's the
Okay.
advanced education minister.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
You guys, I need you to tell me if you think that this is off base. So last week in Saskatchewan, the government of Saskatchewan tabled a budget that's nearly $1 billion deficit. Okay. We in Saskatchewan have $1 billion of work to do before we can be in the black again. And then along comes, this is so funny, Ken Shoveldayoff is Saskatoon Willow Grove's MLA. And recently he put this on the internet, okay? And this is the part that stopped me in my tracks. But when on earth have we paid hundreds of dollars to make giant checks, just like Publishers Clearinghouse? What is this, Ken Shoveldayoff? This is Publishers Clearinghouse?
I think that's like $400 to have one of those printed.
400 taxpayer dollars spent on a giant check with a photo op. And so this is Saskatoon Mayor, brand new Saskatoon Mayor, Cynthia Block. She is on the left side of the spectrum, super woke. And here's Ken Shoveldayoff. And they are delighted. They are delighted with their humongous Publishers Clearinghouse check to say this is what the municipal revenue sharing program is giving to the city of Saskatoon, excuse me. $71 million going to the city of Saskatoon. But what really offends me, is that every one of those dollars is taxpayer dollars. Every single one of them. And now we are having selfie opportunities with humongous giant checks. P.S. If you scroll down, nobody signed that check. You know what it should say at the bottom, Ken Shoveldayoff? The Saskatchewan friggin' taxpayer. This is egregious. It is so tone deaf. I can hardly even stand it. And you know what this is going to go to in the wokest of woke Saskatoon? Their crazy municipal initiatives. Look forward to more bike lanes in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Look forward to more
just in time to paint the pride sidewalks. That's what really bothers me about this. The $400 novelty check aside, the funding comes with no conditions. Can it go to infrastructure, please?
No, we're going to get some new bike lanes for the city of Saskatoon, and we're going to put in gender neutral viewing platforms at the new pool or whatever they're doing there.
Public art that looks like actual
in the library
garbage.
Right, porn boxes in their art galleries. This is perfect.
Yeah, no, I just don't give crazy city councils money with no strings attached.
No, and then the little note at the end. Sorry, could we just bring that back up, Olivia? Because he does heap praise upon this brand new leftist mayor with wild abandon. You know, sort of pays her a huge compliment, like.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Block, for joining us today and for your tireless efforts.
It's her job.
Along with Saskatoon City Council. It's her job, and she's only been doing it for like a year.
Yeah.
Tireless. Oh, she must be so exhausted. Don't knock yourself out, Cynthia, going to the bank to cash your $71 million of taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
With no strings attached. Again,
with
don't
a humongous
give money
giant
with no
check.
strings attached. Don't ever do that.
I mean, I thought that those checks were illegal to hold unless you just won the lottery. Like, I wasn't aware that you could actually,
No, you can just go get one printed.
you just go write your check. But yeah, again, it wasn't signed. And if it was, it would be by the Saskatchewan taxpayer. Tone deaf, absolutely tone deaf.
I should get you one for your birthday.
I want one. Do you know how badass I would feel? Like, so I have a fantasy. I have a fantasy. I've had it for as long as I've been alive. Like, what would I do if I won the lottery?
Mhm.
It would absolutely be to kick in the door of my local Royal Bank with a 3-foot check that said $71 million, like Cynthia Block. Just to, you know what? Maybe this is stemming from jealousy because Cynthia Block got a humongous check before I did.
I'll just get one printed. I can put whatever you want on it.
I'm gonna think on that.
Okay, think on it. All right. We've got some chats and we've got a cringe. So, Snowy Roof, $5. Look back in history, all communist countries, the first thing they do is confiscate the guns so the people can't fight back. Yes. Yes.
History, rebel history. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Snowy Roof,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, you are right.
They also censor the press. They also co-opt law enforcement. They also write terrible laws, and then it gets worse from there. It just gets worse.
And they also impose a state religion, usually. And that state religion in Canada is wokeism. And so to impose wokeism, you have to attack all the other faith groups because the state can have nothing above it.
Isn't that interesting?
For people of faith, you saw this during the pandemic with the churches that reopened. For them, they were obligated to be loyal to God and God's laws more so than the state. So that's one of the first things that communist countries do is they either have state atheism or a state religion to undermine that connection between you and a higher purpose and you and a higher set of guiding principles.
Yeah, the state religion is DEI. The state religion is DEI in Canada. Yeah,
wokeism. P. Schofield 10, $5. Has the topic of having a second amendment for the new country come up in any of the American sovereignty meetings? I believe it has.
It has.
Yeah,
it super has. And that's something that we're really interested in as Westerners. Yeah, I think that would be it would just be
right
a
to bear
given.
arms.
It'd be a given in the West.
You know what? I'm ready for this. So I have many purses that have the concealed carry spot in it, just because I wear a lot of Western wear, and a lot of the Western wear is made in Texas or made for the Texas market, and so most of it has a little concealed carry pocket on the back of the purse where you could just whip it out. And I'm ready with my sparkly belts, with a holster, a sidearm at the grocery store. That's all I want. Many grandchildren and a sidearm at the grocery store.
That's it. That's all she wants. Those are life goals for us.
It's it.
Who's the government to stand in our way?
Right. I'm a simple woman. I want two things: all the grandkids and to be able to wear a sidearm at the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I just wanted to tell you, your sweater today is so cute. I bet we're going to see it in the comments. It is adorable. The chunky knit cow print shirt. Beautiful.
Oh, you know me. If it's cow print, I'm buying it.
That's it. If it's got cowhide on it. Yeah.
Cowhide, even better. Like hide boots with take my money. Just take it.
Just take money.
Snowy Roof, $5. What do you think of Danielle Smith putting a whole bunch of her referendum questions on the October ballot? Smells a lot like a Pierre Poilievre ballot. You know what? People talk about this, and it's a non-issue.
No.
Because you can vote for all of her immigration referendum questions and still vote to leave.
Yeah. That it's happening. And it's not that many. I mean, it's not that many. How many questions? I think she had 5, and then there's or something like this.
Yeah, there's roughly, I think there's going to be maybe 10. The coal one might make it onto there from the aunties, like the Forever Canada one. We'll have the regular one. You know what? Vote on those immigration ones. It's a good backup plan.
I'm thinking it through though. And what happened in Britain, especially during Brexit, was you had one side there was one question, one side clear yes, one side clear no. So it was like it was leave or remain was what people had to answer during the critical moment of the vote. And if you can't campaign on something. You can't be like, okay, I just vote remain, vote remain, vote remain, or vote leave, vote leave, vote leave. You can't campaign if there are a bunch of yes and no alternate questions on the ballot. So I could see how some people would feel like this is an infringement on the one critical question.
Right.
Because if that one critical question gets answered in the yes, we're leaving, well, then all of the immigration questions get answered themselves. So I think that there may be something to that comment. I think that there may be something to that.
Yeah, some people are saying that she's sort of crossing the streams. Maybe. I see it as, vote on all those immigration questions. It's a great backup plan.
Yeah.
It's a great backup plan, but also if you're so inclined, vote to leave.
Well, and if she was truly interested in hearing what Albertans had to say about immigration, there are ways to do that without holding a referendum question about it. There just are. And so it's just interesting. It's just interesting how this is all shaping up.
I just don't think she's against us having a clear say on staying or going, because she actually paved the way for an easier referendum.
Well, I think more than any other politician in Canada, Danielle Smith respects the people of Alberta enough to say, I know they're smart enough to make their own decisions on behalf of. It is my job to serve the people of Alberta, not the other way around. And and so I could, she should just get a lot of credit for allowing the people of Alberta to explore this.
Yeah, and I'm going to start a soft pressure campaign on Scott Moe to do the same. You guys don't have a binding referendum there, and the bar is ridiculously high. It's designed to fail, and even if it does pass, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to put a little star in my notebook and say Premier Scott Moe, and that would also be our Minister of Justice, Tim McLeod. Sheila Gunn, who would put it in our calendar for list of things to do for the Rebel girls.
That's right. One more question, one more comment. Sorry, here. A Cruz Milano, $5. Alejandra here. I think David misgendered her yesterday. She's from Venezuela. Not offended by David misgendering me. LOL. I'm pissed about all the immigration fraud. I came here legally, and my Canadian partner paid tons of money to the government of Canada.
Is that right?
Yeah. Have you tried just walking across the border next time?
Yeah.
Just walk across the border. No, don't do that.
Don't do it. No, we're happy you're here. We're happy you're
glad
here.
You're here.
This is a great example of a person that came to Canada as a newcomer who assimilated to Canadian life and is like, this is something worth pretending. And what is happening right now is eroding our quality of life.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And it must be so frustrating for legal immigrants like Alejandra here, who did everything right, paid out of pocket, waited, and then you see people just going to Pearson like, help me, I'm a refugee. Oh, where are you from? The Indian subcontinent?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, come on in, and as you know, you're going to wait 10 years for an immigration hearing, and now we know that the immigration officials don't even show up, and it'll be basically uncontested. So I guess you're a Canadian now.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. And I do believe that in the new country, Sheila Gunn, Reid, if you apply to us, because we're going to be really great to asylum seekers in the new country. Okay.
Yeah.
People that actually deserve it and like our way of life, want that for themselves, we're going to have to do this. But if you apply as a refugee and you go back to your home country within one calendar year for a holiday, well, then you're no longer a refugee. Yeah, you're going to stay. You're not
Goodbye.
It'll allow us a lot of ways to correct some of the things that the government of Canada have gotten wrong. But thanks for that comment, Alejandra. I love the name. We won't misgender you.
No. Okay, let's do the cringe. We've got it's from Half Tone Gaming. No. The trailer for our new game, Too Many Effing Nazis, is live now. Check it out.
Okay.
And wish list it over on Steam. Okay, let's watch. There might be some rough language here, guys. Maybe.
10 recipes to please our time-traveling Nazi overlords.
Hot styles for your Nazi girl summer.
Let's get started.
about enough for me. Ever wonder why those left-wing kids who get told that everybody who is potentially to the right of center is a Nazi, why they want to kill and shoot us?
It's a mystery, Sheila Gunn Reid. Like, nobody actually knows. It's just one of those enduring things that we can't figure out the answer to. Yeah, of course it's this. Of course it's this. I don't like that kind of violence. Not in movies, not in my television, not especially not in the gaming world. But we've been having these conversations for the last 20 years about how gaming intercepts with culture and what that means for our young people. I just don't think that young people play in that game or are serving themselves in a real good way. Even though it is even though it is only in the digital space, we've seen where digital fantasy, like especially in the case of the Tumblr Ridge shooter, where digital fantasy maybe tied to Chat GPT ended up in really, really, really terrible consequences. And I think that this probably adds to that.
Well, and I'm sad to say for the leftists, the supply of real life Nazis never quite meets their demand for real life Nazis. Like, they see Nazis underneath every pickup truck hood. And they just aren't there. Like they just aren't there, so they have to live in this fantasy land where there are Nazis everywhere. In the meantime, Islamofascists run amok on our streets.
Right. Screaming death to Canada.
And I'm pretty sure those people believe the same things as the Nazis about the Jews. You know?
They sure did. Yeah.
And yet, the obvious left-wing kooks who made this video game would not understand that they are marching on the same side as those people.
Absolutely not. No self-awareness whatsoever. No. They're doing this for the virtue points of their far left extremist friends online.
Yeah.
And without seeing the parallels between those two things. Yeah.
I think that's a show for today.
No.
It is. We're like an hour and a half over. Lise is not with us tomorrow on Western Wednesdays. She's got some things to attend to, but she is back on Friday on the panel. So you're still getting your 2 days of Lise this week. Lise, thanks so much for hosting with me today. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Canada. And we'll see you, Friday. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes. Thanks to everybody who tunes into the show. Livia and Efron working behind the scenes to put the show together. Those of you who pitched in a little bit to keep the lights on around here. And those of you who do the very free thing of just sharing the show, interacting, leaving a comment that sort of drives us up higher in the algorithm, and then the platforms serve us up to more people. That's a great way to help us that doesn't cost you a single thing. And I think I'm back tomorrow. I don't know who's hosting on Western Wednesdays with me, but it'll be me and somebody else, not my beloved Lise. But as we say on the show here, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.